welcome on stage Ulondiwe Siphenxumalo. Can we welcome Ulondiwe Siphenxumalo? Londiwe Siphenxumalo. Hands of protection as she comes. Hallelujah. Jesus, Jesus.
Hallelujah. Singahlala phansi bazalwane. Ngiyanibingelela bangcwele egameni lika Jesu. Ningixolele bazalwane. I really don't know who's who, who's not. So ngizothi nje ngiyanibingelela nonke egameni lika Jesu. Ngibingelele bonke abaphathiswa abakhona. Bhuti Nkululeko ngiyakubingelela. Alibonge igama lenkosi. Can I just be church? That's the only thing I know. Ubhuti Nkululeko sisuka naye oPhongolo. We are really proud of you, Bhuti. Ngisho 10 pen. Ngisho 10 balekele lento engishoyo. Sisuka oPhongolo olumanza bomvu. Nezwani kodwa bafowethu. Sisuka lapha ngasemngceleni waseSwazini. Niyayizwa into. Insizwa zangakithi zime emngceleni zikhulume nezintombi zaseSwazini. Ngakho ke bhuti uNkululeko siyabonga kakhulu mfowethu ukuthi usimele eGoli kwaNdonga ziyaduma. Sibonga ukuthi ngoba bethi nje kuphela amazinyo kusala inyama la eGoli wena wenza sure ukuthi umuntu uyasala. Siyabonga kakhulu bhuti siwuPhongolo. Hayi bafowethu sanime bakhona kodwa bakhona noma ababili abathathu abangalilizela ukuthi lensizwe le yasePhongolo ayililizela bafowethu. Ayimo. Nawe Phongolo ayimncinyana. Nawe Phongolo umncinyana. Alibongwe igama lenkosi. We are really proud of you, Puti. The first time I saw you on TV, I was like, oh my God. What's up on all of it? Alibongwe igama lenkosi. We are really proud of you, Puti, and we are here to support you as uPhongolo. Siyafisa ukuthi lento le vision yakho iqhubekele phambili. Sibonge kakhulu kuba bonke abaphathiswa nazo zonke icukuthwane ezikhona kule ndawo ukuzokusupporta mfowethu nevision yakho. Siyacela ke bazalwane ukuthi nimsupporte umfowethu ngemikhuleko, niphinde nimsupporte ngemali. Okay, tingikhuluma isingisi nizwa ngapha umuntu athi angizwanga le part yemali. Please support him with money. Did you all hear me? Say to your neighbor, did you hear her? Amen. I'm gonna sing a song named Akhona Mandla Aphilisayo. We are gathered in this place because our brother believes that even emotional wounds can be healed. Even the things you go through that people can't see can still be healed. Ngakho ke sizomemezela naseGoli. Akhona amandla aphilisayo. Akhona amandla kaSimakade aphilisayo. Akhona amandla omdala wezinsuku. Athi uDavide uJehova Balperazim uyafohla njengamanzi amaningi. Mayisafikile amandla akhe ayalungisa aphilise nezimali zethu. aphilise ne-depression amandla kaNkulunkulu, aphilise aze aphilise nemishado yethu, aphilise nabantwana bethu amandla kaNkulunkulu. Afike usimemede asesula izinyembezi, uthi uDavide uyazibopha izilonda zethu. Awusanimanani bafowethu, akhona amandla. Akhona amandla aphilisayo, sekufika amandla akhululayo, sekukhona amandla, usakhona umdala wezinsuku, seswa kunyakaza amandla, uJehova ukhona la. Akhona amandla lapha-ke, usafikile usimakade uyaselapha zonke izifo. Akhona amandla lapha-ke, ayakhulula gabula nasibopho lalana kula ndawo, kuthwala amandla. Usakhona Jehova igama lakhe, lalela sizwe nje kenyakaza amandla lapha-ke, uJehova ukhona la. Akhona amandla, kuthwala amandla lapha-ke, kunyakaza amandla, uJehova ukhona la. Akhona amandla, uyasokala Jehova ukhona kula ndawo, uyaselapha izilonda zethu, kunyakaza amandla, uJehova ukhona la. Akhona amandla, uthwala amandla, umdala wezinsuku, Jehova amafota, uyafota nasesimeni zethu-ke, unyakaza amandla, uJehova ukhona la. Jehova ukhona. Akhona amandla, usimakade ukhona, uyaselapha izilonda zethu, uyalungisa emakhaya ethu, uyalungisa emisebenzini yethu. Simakade ukhona kule ndawo, uJehova ukhona la. Jehova ukhona. Akhona amandla, sithumela lawo amandla eminyangweni evaliwe, sithumela lawo amandla esintweni esisicelile. Usimakade usosenzela, usimakade usovula iminyango evaliwe. Jehova ukhona. Akhona amandla, igama lakhe uJehova samawati, igama lakhe uJehova Rafa, igama lakhe uJehova Shalom, igama lakhe uJehova Yahweh. Uyanyangaza amandla lapha-ke, Jehova ukhona. Akhona amandla, lalela, ayagabula isibopho seminyama, afika agabula abathakathi sebekhulumile, agabula abantu sebekhulumile. Akhona amandla, uJehova ukhona la. uJehova ukhona. Sisendaweni kaSimakade, sisazigidigidini sasingelosi, uthwala amandla, umdala wezinsuku, uyahambahamba uSimakade, uyasilungisala, uyaswakala, ugqabuka Uyasilika moya usimanga khona akhona amandla lapha ke uJehova khona la uJehova khona ona maya liya siyena ya labo saya akhona amandla omdala wasinsuku uNkulunkulu ongaseli uNkulunkulu okhalali usimangathi khona kule ndawo usimangathi khona kule ndawo lalala qhubekana kuthulani uzophendula umdala wesinsuku qhubekana kuthulani uzophendula umdala wesinsuku qhubekana kuthulani uyasilola izinto ezimnyama qhubekana kuthulani yabo ke kanyamasa amandla lapha ke Jehova khona siyezwa esweni moya kunyakasa amandla usimangathi khona Jehova ngafitshane khona ngiyanyamasa esweni moya kunyakasa amandla elamaya libosa siyaswa ngiyanyamasa amandla ngiyanyamasa amandla akhipha abantwana bethu esibhodini ngiyanyamasa amandla anikaza abantu abangasebenzi imisebenzi ngiyanyamasa amandla lapha ngiyanyamasa amandla lapha uJehova kahlulaki wanza kungenzeki kubantu wenzeke wanza kungenzeki kubantu wenzeke Jehova khona la Jehova khona sizoletha bonke ezinyaweni zenkosi elimosaya sizoletha izinyembezi zethu phambi kwenkosi sasabana sahluleka sasizoletha ezinyaweni zenkosi kanyamasa amandla elimosaya labosaya ona maya kanoya labosaya izinyanga zehlulekile izangoma zehlulekile ama-qualification ahlulekile nasimali zethu zehlulekile kodwa kukhona amandla lapha ke kukhona amandla lapha ke kukhona amandla lapha ke wasamaya elimosaya kwela amandla kaSimakade kule ndawo kwela izigidigidi zikaSimakade kukhona ingelosi kule ndawo kukhona amandla kunyakasa inkasimulo yasezulwini akhona amandla hey uJehova khona nawe ungamkholwa ngakwenzela lalela nawe ungamisa ngakwenzela uthi Jesu ndodana kaDavide ungangendluli nami kanyamasa amandla lapha hey uJehova khona la bayede nkosi yasezulwini wena ophethe amandla njengengubo bayede nkosi yasesalema wena ophethe amandla njengengubo bayede nkosi yasesiyoni wena omane sikanyesa uzibize ngamagama bayede nkosi yasezulwini sikhona lapha esenamalweni sezinyawo zakho noma izulu liyisihlalo sakho kanti umhlaba uyisenamalo sizoletha konke kuwe sizoletha konke kuwe Jehova khona akahluleka uSimakade engathi ungayikholwa lento akahluleki ukhona amandla lapha
yebo. Jehova khona. Sathempelo uzophendula khomlilo namanzi. Sathempelo woNkulunkulu yena uzophendula. Sathemba umdala wezinsuku uzophendula yebo. Ngoba umile njalo, Jesu uyabathwala bakhe. Haleluya. Simangu uyabaweza kaphesheya. Umile njalo uyabathwala bakhe. Jesus. Simangu uyabaweza kaphesheya. Umile njalo ungena nami emililweni enzima aphinda bawase kaphesheya. Umile njalo ke uyabathwala bakhe. Ingakho ngazuzongethola nami usonge kwasa nami kaphesheya. Umile njalo ke uyabathwala uSimakade. Uyabathwala bakhe bakhe. Uyabawasa kaphesheya. Umile njalo ke Hallelujah. 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 Ngathi bayangixosha sheshisa uthi yavula iminyango evaliwe. Bengangixosha ibhuti sheshisa. Hey! Su. Yavula iminyango ebivaliwe. Sayibonga Inkosi. Yafika yavula iminyango ebivaliwe. Sayibonga Inkosi. Yangasanisima ikhotha yasekhonmothi kenzanwe unendoda yaseKalvari iyavula iminyango. Yavula iminyango evaliwe. Yavula iminyango. Sayibonga Inkosi. Yavula iminyango evaliwe. Yavula iminyango. Sayibonga Inkosi. Yavula iminyango evaliwe. Yavula iminyango. Sayibonga Inkosi. Yavula Inkosi.
Thank you. Siyabonga kakhulu. Siyabonga. Can someone please help me? Ngicela uzongisiza ngaleli pulpit silisuse. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ngicela simshayele izandla ezinkulu sisilondiwe. Siphenqa umali. I'm definitely gonna look like a spoiler alert, but I have to do this. It's a Saturday, it's already after 12. There's a lot that needs to be done. Siyabonga kakhulu. Animnikezanga izandla ezimfanele. Siyabonga kakhulu. We have to get a grip kwi-program yethu. Ikhona singeke size sithi sisiphunyuke kanjani isikhathi. A lot of sacrifice has been made for certain people to be here. Esibonga kakhulu ukuthi bakhona. Sizothi sibamba ngomphefumulo lento yokuthi silapheke. Kodwa futhi sibuye sibambe ngo-practical. And this is now the part la khona the professionals can try and decipher this pandemic of mental illness, this pandemic of suicide, with all its linkages, be it depression, stress, bipolar disorder, whatever it may be. So ladies and gentlemen, right now, please we will have them introduce themselves. Please may I have 2 roving mics. Mr. Sound, can you please prepare 2 roving mics for me if they are on their way? So please may I call our panelists, Dr. Jacob, Dr. Ntabi Seng, as well as, I do believe that I have 3, as well as, Mahlatse, yes, Mahlatse Mahluele, who's an occupational therapist. Won't you kindly come and join me if I have called you and you are part of our panelists? Could you kindly come and join me here in the front? Don't be shy. Just stand and just take one of these seats so that we can have a great conversation. Don't worry, be happy. Do, 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 do. Don't worry. Do, 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 do. Be happy. Do, 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 do. And guess what? He committed suicide, Bobby McFerrin. The irony of things, that he's the guy who was trying to motivate us, who was trying to inspire us not to worry, but rather be happy, but look at the outcome of his own life. So you never really know what's happening to someone, despite their career, despite their appearance, despite whatever they are giving to us. I will start from my far right. Thank you so much for joining me. We're just going to have a conversation. We'll allow for a few questions, but we're going to try and make this as engaging as possible, as simplified as possible. I know you are professionals. There's jargon in your industry. We are streaming live on Royal Bopedi TV, so we do have people more than in the house we have who are paying attention and getting assistance. Won't you kindly introduce yourselves and then we will start our conversation. There we go.
Afternoon to the House at large. My name is Mahlatsi Mahlwele, and I'm an occupational therapist. I hold a bachelor's degree in occupational therapist from the institution now known as SMU. I work under mental health
Yeah.
and also rehab.
Okay, thank you very much. Singamshayela izandla.
Sanibonani. Dumelang. Nda. Ka lebitso ke Jackson Ohamokwebo. I am a clinical psychologist by profession from the Department of Health, JHB Health District. Qualified as a psychologist at the University of Limpopo. Some qualifications also from the University of South Africa. In terms of experience, I've worked in the forensic setting, prison, I've worked in hospitals, and now we are based at the clinic. So ngasho ukuthi we, with my fellow colleagues, we are the soldiers, we are there in the communities trying to fight and assist this pandemic that we are facing.
Thank you. So, Dr. Jacob.
It's Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson. Yes.
Mr. Jackson, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was told Dr. Jacob. Thank you very much. Cela simshayela izandla ey'fana nezika Mthabi. Can we pass the mic? We'll just be sharing those two microphones.
Good day, esteemed guests. My name is Sister Nomsa Shabango. I'm the clinical nurse coordinator for mental health in the entire Johannesburg Health District. I'm trained in a variety of specialties, but my main specialty is mental health, particularly child psychiatric nursing from the University of the Free State. I would like to thank everybody for this invitation, in particular the Halfway House Clinic Mental Health Department. We have Mr. Ngube just sitting there. He's shy. He's the guy who's instrumental in this area as far as mental health, and I'm pleased to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Asimshayeleni izandla.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ntabiseng Libina, and I am a social worker with a master's from the University of Pretoria, and I also have an honors degree in psychology. And I am in private practice, and a lot of my work involves counseling, working with children, adults, and families. So where social workers come in when it comes to mental health, social work is about family, building families, and that is where we come in. That is where my support is, to empower families and to also support the people that are diagnosed with mental illnesses, because after the diagnosis, it's a very long journey and a very sad one if there isn't that emotional and psychological support. And I've got a very big interest in children as well. I advocate for children. I believe that parents need to be empowered so that they can better parent their children. We are where we are because our parents are going through a lot. As a result, the children are not being parented well, and the cycle of mental illness then continues.
Thank you so much. Can we also appreciate her with that great introduction? Thank you so much, our panelists. My questions, can we just make this a conversation, will not necessarily be directed to any one individual, so if you feel that you can take or you'd like to add on to what someone else has said, go for it. The first thing I'd like to find out is, what are the numbers abantu bakithi emphakathini esiqhamuka kuyona? How much of them are willing to come to you guys as professionals? And what is it that is holding them back, if ever there are situations or things that are weighing on them, stress, depression, that might at the end lead to suicide? What is it? What are those numbers, if you are aware? Not necessarily accurately, but go for it. But what is it that really stops and hinders them from getting assistance from you guys?
Thank you, sir. We are not, I cannot sit here and tell you about the numbers. But I think first and foremost, I would like to let everybody know, because I don't think a lot of people know that the mental health service exists in almost all of the clinics. It stretches out in the entire district. When I say Johannesburg Health District, I mean from Soweto up until Halfway House, Alexandra. And we are a multidisciplinary team. I actually lead a team of professional psychiatric nurses. In our department, you'll find a psychologist, there's a clinical psychologist, there's an occupational therapist, there's social workers, there's even registered counselors. But we find that most of the time people come to us when it's too late. By that, they come to us once they have attempted, and then that is when they are referred to mental health. And our job is extremely hard because we still have to go through the root cause. And unfortunately, we are seeing more and more teenagers that are killing themselves. And I think the social worker has said that there's a real great pathology that exists in our community in terms of how our kids are being parented.
Yeah.
It's what we call the attachment theory. So if anything goes wrong from preconception up until birth, and then what happens after the child is born. And I would like to urge the parents and everybody that is here, is that we are here for you. In our departments, we will not turn you away. As much as we work per appointment, but if the situation is severe, we will see you. We urge you to come because you will get the help that you need. And we are seeing that a lot of people have attached stigma into mental health. They think that mental health or mental illness, you're going to see a psychotic person, but that's not the truth. So a lot of our communities are burdened. They are financially burdened. There's a lot of family disorganization. There's grief, and a lot of people are finding that it's hard for them to deal with grief. And most of the time, that is when they resort to wanting to kill themselves or to commit suicide so that they end all the pain. So we are very glad that we are here today because our department is a department that, when you look at the entire health establishment, we are the least supported department. And as I'm sitting here today, our department has phased out training of nurses in psychiatry. So in future, there will not be psychiatrically trained nurses. It will be general nurses. And we are trying to move away from that because mental health is important. So in short, I would like to urge everybody or tell everybody that our services do exist and will not send people away. And unfortunately, there's alarming numbers of suicide attempts in our society. Thank you.
Okokuqala lukhono usizo. I think that's what I'm gaining more than anything. Lukhono usizo at whatever level of society or demographic la ukhona. Lukhono usizo. A clinic, emtholampilo, esibhedlela. Don't consider ukuthi mhlambe kuzoze kudinga ukuthi ube no 1,500 wokuyobona a psychologist. That's great if you can afford that. But at whatever level, if you can ask for help, emtholampilo bazokwazi ukukusiza. That's what I'm getting. You'd like to add on, Thabiseng?
I'd like to add, I think the perception we have about mental illness is also contributing to people not accessing mental health services. Because we tend to think that a mental illness is your fault. You are diagnosed with depression because you're weak. You're diagnosed with depression because you don't pray too hard. You're diagnosed with depression because you think negative or whatever. I think if we can start seeing mental illness for what it is an illness like any other. It is not your fault. You did nothing to have that illness. Seek help. So the ownership or the perception we have about mental illness make people not access services because we think you can pray it away. You can read motivational quotes. You can have a positive mentality. It's an illness. Every illness deserves treatment. They have their place, but let's not undermine the intervention of professionals when it comes to treating mental illness. The very same way we run and rush when we have physical illnesses, I think the same attention needs to be given when someone is battling with mental illness. We don't have to encourage them to pray, but we rather say pray while you are seeking help.
I'd like to highlight, the importance of initiatives, or initiative like this, where different stakeholders come in, sit in, and we connect and share and learn about mental health in general. Because when we speak about stigma is because of lack of information, normally lack of knowledge. What we have seen in our public or society is that what we don't know, we see it as funny. Hence, that comes a stigma, and people who are stigmatized, they made fun of in terms of seeking help. So information is one of the factors that people don't go and seek help because they're going to be judged by the population at large. But mental health, the one thing is, and I loved how Umama, Unomvula, you took it, you brought it here, and it's something that everyone goes to. The more we speak about it, the more actually people realize it's something that exists. Contact with mental health or people that have experienced mental health issues. That's one of the factors that makes it easier for people to go out there and seek help.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. I want to go straight to suicide. I've heard before that with females, it's often an attempt. They try, whenever they commit suicide, most of them, it's never with an attempt to die. That it's mostly when males do it, basuke bazi ukuthi this is it, I'm doing it. Can you clear out those, sibe aware, because some of us lana siyafisa ukuba ne-awareness, but also some of those things can be generalized, sigcina sesinganaki. Uthola ukuthi sitshela ukuthi hayi lo ufuna attention, vele we know that women never really do it, kanti useyenza ngempela. Can you clear those? I'll start with you, Mahlatsi, if that's okay.
That's okay. I think one of the things that we are not aware of is that one of the side effects of either a physical injury, but mostly a mental health injury, is suicide. Suicide is really one of the side effects of, mental health illnesses is one of the side effects of suicide. So, and I believe that suicide it's secondary to other mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, those other mental health conditions lead to a person not believing or not feeling that I'm worth it, I'm useless, I'm not enough, I'm not paid attention to, hence it leading to suicide. But then now, getting back to your question, when I look at females, is because as a female, we have this thing of ngizobekezela. I can carry it. My mom did it. A mere example, I'll pose an example when it comes to I'm a mom of 2, so I'm going to take it back to postpartum depression. I'm like, no, my mom has this amount of kids. She managed to pass through it. How am I failing? Why am I not being able to do 1, 2, 3, 4? I can see I'm suffering, I'm crying every night, Sometimes you even to a point whereby when a child cries, you just leave them there. Those are one of the earliest symptoms that you've passed through the stress symptoms. Now you are going through depression. But as a woman, nizobekezela. My mom went through it. Why not? So that is one of the struggles we as women are facing. Also in marriage. Uzobekezela emshadweni, carry on. So this thing, a woman, our grannies, I think they should just, wipe away those things. And when you touch about the question that poses, women, when we do the suicide, are we doing it for attention? What are we doing it for? I'd like to take it upon the psychologist so that at least he can take it on the psychological aspect of it.
Sure, I appreciate that. Go ahead.
In terms of help-seeking behaviors, females generally seek help at an earlier stage. Whilst men, they wait until there's something really physical or something that pushes them to go seek help. And then in terms of the measures and the means that are used, men normally use your lethal means in terms of trying to commit suicide. It would be you're using a gun. One would go and, stand in front of a train. To add on what Matlati said here, issues of attention, we hear it quite a lot where they say, I often attention.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, ufune attention because how you brought them up endlini. They were never acknowledged, they were never affirmed, they were never meant to feel like they exist. So umntwana has a negative image of themselves, low self-esteem. They struggle with a lot of activities because they do not feel like they are good enough. So it's quite important that maskhuluma attention, let us be aware ukuthi normally abantwana bayayidinga a certain type of attention. How we attach to our children is quite important, because if we attach, if abantwana ba-attach kithi in an avoidant way, they're going to interact with other people in an avoidant way. So I normally say one needs to produce a conducive environment for a child, to be someone who is influential, who is well regulated psychologically. So it's okay to notice abantwana, it's okay to affirm abantwana, acknowledge abantwana, validate abantwana. And it doesn't only go to abantwana as well. We see it in marriages, we see it emsebenzini. We do need to be validated, we need to be acknowledged, we need to be seen, because it helps in terms of how we see ourselves.
Got you. Thank you. Soweto and Mohau, I'm going to ask you to please go around. If ever there are hands, I'll just take 3 questions. If ever there are hands, we'll do those before we end the session. Not right now. Maybe for now, we'll just start identifying them. If you can help me with identifying them, I'll just ask 2 questions, and then after those, we'll start having that Q&A session. I'm intentionally gonna ask this question. On one of the radio shows I do, someone wrote an open letter, a male. They said, I stand against GBV, I stand against males who are discriminating on females in whichever way. And then they said, I've never heard on Women's Month where women are being asked to make an oath. It's often males who are being asked, he said, it's great that women are celebrated, but whenever it's Men's Month in July, when different themes are happening, especially in the media space, most of the time there's kind of a pressure where a male, understandably so, to say, because I enzile kahle indoda, but uthi mina ke engazi ukuthi ngenze kahle, why am I always asked lobu buqotho when owesifazane is never really or as much asked to make those oaths? I will not give birth and then throw the child in a toilet. I will, those kind of things that you hear as slogans. And that maybe that could be one of the things that is putting a lot more pressure on indoda. I don't know. Can you comment as professionals about that? And then we can even bring it back to females as well, about the pressures they have. After the stats that I got, Yoguti, this month of August has seen some of the highest numbers of females committing suicide after a long, long time.
I think that's the problem we have. Hence, in some very important issues, we continue to debate in circles. We make gender comparisons, we make gender struggles. Is it not possible for us to deal with the issue without pointing the other? I mean, for us to get to a point where men are asked to pledge, we know, it's not a secret, the person who is most likely to be killed by their partner is a female. The perpetrators of GBV, the majority are males. We are not saying women are not doing it, but what are the stats saying to us? The person that is more scared of walking around in this country than any other is a female more than a man. So we were actually, that is what is being addressed. So by addressing one issue, we are not dismissing the other. Maybe if we can start looking at things from there so that we can be able to make progress. Because when we have to attend to societal ills, and then when we're talking about women that are killing men, and someone says, yeah, but men are killing women too, you're not helping the situation. When we're talking about fathers that dump kids, and you come and say, yeah, but women dump kids, you're not helping the situation. At this point, we're trying to address this issue. Can our focus be this one? Can we handle this one? So dealing with one issue does not automatically dismiss the other, but it talks to what is of importance or priority at the time.
Are we comfortable with that? Can anyone want echo very quickly before I move on to the next question? Yes?
Another thing that we need to look into is, the socially assigned responsibilities that, are assigned by either culture, religion plays a role, where, males and females are differentiated based on, cultural principles. For example, say indoda ikhali, ubuhle bendoda yinkomo zayo, where a man, when he sees himself as, ukuthi umikhwama zami zingekho right. It means that I'm not man enough.
Angindoda yalutho, yeah.
Yebo. And even the responsibilities, abo mama bagcina bashawa postpartum depression because